brothers, my courageous fighting brothers, face your fears and follow me. We are the sons of the UMP.
Welcome to the Unapologetic Man Podcast, the only podcast that's all about self-improvement, confidence, success, women, and being a man without making any apologies for it. What is up, gentlemen? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the UMP. I really do appreciate you. 1000x your masculinity, huh? Man, that's a tall order for today's episode, but I told you I was going to do that, so I am going to give it my best shot. We are at least going to get you pumped up. We're at least going to get you motivated, highly into your testosterone, and show you how to harden the fuck up, because there is way too much pussification out there. Masculinity is under attack, so it's my job as the unapologetic man to release episodes just like this one. Now, obviously, I've done many episodes on how to increase your masculinity, and one of the big things I focus on in this podcast is not to repeat myself too much. I really don't like it when podcast hosts do that. It irks me when I hear stuff that I've heard before, so I always intend to bring you guys new, fresh, extremely usable advice. And that being said, don't forget to go through my past episodes, man. Like starting from episode 200, I feel this podcast is excellent, as the reviews attest, but there's tons of information back there that I feel a lot of people don't go back to because they're like, oh, that's old. Well, some of the best nuggets are in older episodes. So perhaps if you enjoy this one, go listen to some of my other stuff about masculinity, about frame control, about how to talk to girls, different techniques, different tricks, and specifically anything to do with the art of living. That introductory little sing-along thing I did at the beginning of this episode, there's kind of a funny story about that. That was actually stolen from the Navy SEALs. They have a song like that. One of their cadences, as they're running, they sing along with one another. I think it's super sick. So I made my own version of it. And when I recorded it, I sent it to my champion podcast editor, Liam. And I was like, hey, man, can you just 15x this and put them on top of one another so it sounds like a bunch of people singing? And he writes me back a very kind email. He is from England, after all, where manners reign above all else. He's like, Mark, if I do that, it's just going to make it louder. I was like, okay, that actually does make sense. And he's like, you'll have to record it 15 different times. And I was like, oh my hell, do I really want to do that? So one day I was just sitting here and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do it. So I recorded that for you boys 15 damn times. I listened to the original version in headphones and I just sang along with it. And I think it came out pretty dope, man. I was pretty happy with it. But it was stolen, like I said, from the Navy SEALs with, of course, my own lyrics. And the verse at the end says, we are the sons of the UMP, which of course means the Unapologetic Man Podcast. But the SEALs say we are the sons of UDT. And UDT stands for Underwater Demolition Teams. The Navy SEALs kicked off in World War II when we were storming beaches before we would invade beachheads. So in Normandy, for example, and if you don't know what Normandy is, it's the invasion of France in World War II by the United States, England, Canada, Australia, and all the allies. We invaded and we had to send guys in to get rid of the beach obstacles before the crafts landed. So that's what the UDT guys did. The Navy chose the toughest, most rugged sailors they could find to send them into these beaches and clear the beachhead before the landing. So this took a fuck ton of guts, obviously. And of course, these dudes were highly in their masculine energy. In fact, as I look behind me as I'm recording this, I have a picture of those guys invading Normandy, those Americans getting off the boats, just like Saving Private Ryan, invading the beachhead. And above it, it says, harden the fuck up. So that's what we're going to discuss today, boys. And again, I want to give you some different types of things that you should be doing as an alpha, silverback, unapologetic male who's trying to maximize his masculinity. Because I'll tell you what, this massive movement to undermine masculinity is extremely unhealthy for not only you, but also humanity as a whole. Did you know that men's sperm count is actually going down to near non-existent levels, where our ability to procreate in the future is in question? Why is this? Because you are a carburetor, and I have talked about this before, where you operate on masculinity. What makes you feel good is going for goals. What makes you feel good is being aggressive. What makes you feel good is competing with other men, kicking ass, taking names, being disagreeable, following your passions, and hardening the fuck up. So what happens in today's society, especially all this gender neutral movement kind of shit, and I actually have another story I want to share, a brief story about that really spurred this episode. But what's happening is guys are becoming like girls and girls are becoming like guys. Why is it that we need to be like each other? Why can't women be feminine and men be masculine? It's worked for hundreds of thousands of years. Why are we trying to undermine it? Well, there's a lot of different reasons for that, but the outcome is low sperm count, women that can't get attracted to men, talking to chicks and she's like a dude, opening a door for a woman and actually getting yelled at, which actually happened to my client the other day. He opened the door for a woman and she's like, oh my God, what do you think? I can't take care of myself? These types of things are undermining masculinity, and I see a major problem with it because, again, women are carburetors who are honed in perfectly to thrive on estrogen and femininity. Men are carburetors who are honed in to thrive most optimally on testosterone and masculinity. And furthermore, when a man is highly in his masculine and a woman is highly in her feminine, what happens? Those of you who have been listening for a long time should know this. There's sexual tension. It's like having a rubber band between the two. The more he goes into his masculine, the opposite side of the football field, if you will, and the more she goes into her feminine, the other end zone of the football field, there's massive sexual tension there. So when they have sex with each other, not only will it be unbelievably good sex, but they'll both be healthier because he understands he was born as a male. No, he's not gender neutral. That's right. He was born as a male with a penis and testicles are where testosterone is. And she was born as a female, where she operates more effectively on estrogen. So when you go into your masculinity, when you accept it and you actually thrive on it, that's when you're the healthiest. And that's when your sperm count goes up. That's when women become more attracted to you. That's when you become more successful in life. So I was getting a massage the other day and I was asking the lady who was massaging me about her kid, because I have a kid too. And she kind of mentioned her kid and she's talking about her kid and she's like, yeah, and then they go outside and they climb trees and they swing down from them. And I'm like, oh, how many kids do you have? And she's like, oh, just one, but we don't adhere to gender stereotypes, so we call them they. And I was really careful, right? Like, I'm respectful. And in some ways I can kind of see it, but I'm going to explain that in a second, okay? In some ways I'm open to it, but in this way I was a little bit put off by it. And I'm going to explain why. So I asked, do you mind if I ask what your child was born as? And she says, oh, they were born as a boy. Okay. And then she went on to talk about this boy. And she's like, he's so silly. He has dreams about driving cars and doing war. And he plays with G.I. Joes and he climbs trees and he jumps out of them. They're such a crazy kid. And I was like, dude, you have a boy. And by telling this boy that he doesn't have a gender, you are going to potentially mess him up in his head moving forward. Now, gentlemen, I'm probably more open-minded than a lot of you listening, especially in a podcast like this one. You would think I would be very right-leaning, like stick to traditional values. There's no way that a man can become a woman, and if they are, it's a psychology thing. I don't agree with that. If the kid grows up and decides he wants to be a woman, go ahead, bro. It's your life. Like, do what you want to do. If you want to have gender reassignment surgery, look, it's not my place to say anything, but to do it to a child who literally is confused now about whether he's a boy or a girl, I disagree with that. So anyway, she's going on and on about this, and I'm just thinking in my head as I'm getting this massage, I'm like, dude, this is gonna really hurt his masculinity because he's clearly a boy. He's playing G.I. Joes and jumping out of trees and having dreams about crashing cars and fires and war, and it's like boy stuff. And that's okay. It's okay to be a fucking man and embrace it. Men are responsible for creating a gigantic portion of this society, which is extremely successful. And women too are responsible for nurturing, taking care of. They are the sacred feminine, which gives birth to both men and women and continues the lineage of our species. So, can we both have a place? Yes, we can. So you, brother, I want you to embrace that masculinity within yourself because obviously you are a dude. You know you're a dude. You want to get girls. And in order to get women, heterosexual women who are attracted to men, you have to move deeply into your masculinity. Throw away all this talk about becoming more like a woman. Throw away all this talk about how your masculinity is toxic and how things like aggression, competitiveness, passion, wanting to fight, and I'm going to explain that in a second, is bad because it's not bad. It's a part of who you are. It's that masculine heart beating in your chest that you need to embrace and leverage to get yourself to that next level. Because when you embrace that masculinity, when you accept it and you say, yeah, my masculinity is fucking awesome and it's fucking sexy, that's when you're going to get to the highest pinnacle of your life. Because again, you are a carburetor who is dialed in to thrive on that stuff. Do you work out? Do you go to the gym? Do you jack weights? If you don't, I want to suggest to you to get in the fucking gym and throw some weights around. Listen to my playlist on Spotify. It's called Mark's Lift Heavy Ass Weights. Yes, I've talked about it about a dozen times over the past 3 years that I've been doing this podcast. Looking at it right now, I have about 870 followers. What is up, champions? I appreciate it. Listen to that shit. Let the war pump through your fucking veins and jack some weights. That's my first tip for you. My second tip is to embrace your aggression. That's right. Embrace your aggression. Now, what is aggression? Does it mean I'm going to go hurt somebody? Does it mean I'm going to go rape a woman? No. Aggression is simply that growl within you that makes you passionate and competitive to become a fucking champion. You can be aggressive in business. You can be aggressive driving. Some of the best drivers I ever see on the freeway are just aggressive motherfuckers, just going through lanes like a goddamn legend. I hate to say this, and oh my God, this is going to get me a lot of hate mail, but I can tell without even seeing the driver who's a male and who's a female when they're driving. It always seems the dudes know how to change lanes and accelerate and get into those little gaps and just kill it, and that's okay. Men are naturally inclined to be better at things like driving vehicles, riding motorcycles, throwing baseballs. Women are more inclined to be socially intelligent, compassionate, healers, artists, chefs, anything with creativity. Women typically thrive in that arena. And don't get me wrong, for any of you haters listening, particularly women, I love women. They are the most beautiful creatures just gliding seamlessly through this world with such beauty and grace, and they smell good. I love hearing their voices. I love women and I love everything about them. But let's let women be women and men be fucking men. And that's right, aggression is part of who you are, brother. So embrace it right now. I'm coming at you with aggression because I'm trying to get into your fucking skull piece that it's okay to be masculine. It's okay to embrace that within yourself. It's okay to harden the fuck up, embrace that warrior within yourself and get after it. Go get your goals. Go get jacked. Go get money. Go get girls. It's who you are and you should embrace that with nothing held back. Love it. Accept it, be it, step into it completely because that's who you are as an unapologetic man. The other thing we need to do is compete with other men. That's right. A lot of this movement, this anti-masculinity movement says we shouldn't be competitive. Everybody should get a trophy. Don't let the loser feel bad. Bullshit. The reason we are so successful in today's society is because we are competitive. What is capitalism? It's all based on competitiveness. Beating the other person, making the most money, getting the most success, getting the most clients, getting the most trophies on the shelf. It's okay as long as your ego doesn't get wrapped up into it and you define yourself that way, and as long as you don't screw over other people. I have a very simple code of ethics when it comes to my life. If you were to ask me what I feel is right and what I feel is wrong, it's very simple. What is right is that which creates peace for both myself and other people. What is wrong is that which creates suffering both for myself and other people. Does being competitive with other men create suffering for that person? No, it's some of the funnest stuff you could do. Why are there always dudes on the basketball court going toe to toe, being aggressive, showing their masculinity and trying to win over each other? And then at the end, the winner shakes the loser's hand and it's okay because that failure is going to motivate the dude who lost to get even better, thus improving him, thus improving the society as a whole, because the lack of your best hurts everything. In order to be your best, you have to be aggressive. You have to be competitive. You have to step into your masculinity, into your warrior self, and go get that fucking goal. I love to talk about the peaceful warrior, and it's simply this. I am a warrior. I'm a mushroom cloud laying motherfucker. And I'm going to be peaceful until you fuck with me, until you go against me. Then I'm going to tear you up. Watching dudes on the gridiron playing American football. Watching dudes on the pitch playing English football. Watching hockey games, watching baseball games, watching motocross dudes race each other, and that mental game that they play with each other, just beating each other by inches sometimes, and the competitiveness and the handshake afterwards, that's what the fuck masculinity is. Masculinity protects, it provides, it presides. So the true masculine man wants to protect other people, even those he's going against competitively, but he's still competitive, isn't he? In fact, the most masculine silverback in the silverback tribe is the one who takes care of the little kids. When a little kid gets bumped, it's the masculine alpha silverback who goes over and checks on him first, because masculinity protects. And in a way, it's even nurturing, which gets us even further into the masculine-feminine dynamic, where masculinity has a little bit of femininity in it, and femininity has a little bit of masculinity in it. That was really hard to say, by the way, but you guys have seen women who could just tear you a new asshole and be super aggressive. It's because that femininity is also powerful. But to try to negate one over the other, or say this is toxic or that is toxic, fuck that. Step into what you really are. Here's the balance that you should have, brother. 80% masculine, 20% feminine is what most men should have. 80 black marbles, 20 white marbles, that's the perfect balance. In fact, right now, I'm combining my black marbles with my white marbles, because to do a podcast like this one, I have to be creative. I have to think on the fly, which is feminine. But I also have to come at you aggressively. In order to create that chant in the beginning, I had to summon that masculine warrior within myself, and it felt fucking good because my carburetor is getting the right concoction of dopamine, serotonin, and whatever other chemical you want to list there. I'm feeling fucking good. You also want to be part of a tribe of men. As men, we are tribal. We are warriors. So yeah, embrace that football team. Embrace that soccer team, that hockey team. Be part of a crew where you guys get together and it's your tribe. Now, obviously, when it gets to the point where you're anti other tribes or you think you're superior to other tribes, that's where it gets problematic, because the ego comes in. And look at the ego, man. It's really cunning. It's going to come in through the back door. But being part of a tribe, having a brotherhood, having a dude who you would die for, that's what the fuck a man does. In fact, it's been said many times that guys who go to war, they do not fear death. Why? Not because they've come to some place where they don't care about their own life, but it's because they care about the life of their brother more than they do even their own life. And they will die for him because of love. And look at that, femininity coming into it again, isn't it? Femininity coming into that battlefield where men are dying for one another. I will fucking die for you because I'm highly masculine. I will protect you. So to be part of a tribe, to have brothers who are going after the same goal, to be struggling together, man, what I would give to be on one of those championship football teams or soccer teams and to win that trophy and just celebrate together. Man, when Argentina won the World Cup and they were all partying together, I was like, dude, what I would give to be in that kind of situation. But I'll tell you what, when I coach guys and they get to the top of the mountain, it's almost the same thing, us celebrating their success. All right, my next point, boys, and I have talked about this before, is to move into your fears. Your fears should be the barometer that leads you into the next step of your life. I want to ask you, bro. Yeah, you, the guy listening. What are you most afraid of? What is your number one fear? I want you to step into that, because that is the barometer. The obstacle is the way. That is the compass leading you to your success. Follow your fears. And if it's talking to women, God damn it, get out there and do it. You can listen to my previous episode, which I dropped on Monday, where I talk about how to practice talking to girls without talking to girls. But after you're done with that shit, get into the arena. Face your fears. Go talk to those girls. Be with the tribe of other dudes who are doing it. Be aggressive, unapologetic when you're talking to women. And when I say aggressive, I'm simply meaning go up to her and talk to her. Don't be aggressive in the way that you're trying to force her into something, or you're demeaning, or you're belittling to her. No, be aggressive and go cross the street to go talk to her. Be aggressive and go do something that scares the shit out of you. Like my client, Alex R., who just went into the nightclubs for the first time in his life alone, without a wingman, and opened up everybody, and he got laid, man. He pulled a girl back into his truck and they had sex in the back seat. That's my boy, Alex. You're a fucking man, and you need to make no apologies for it. Embrace the warrior within yourself. Dress masculine. How do you dress, bro? You wearing little pinks and blues and oranges and cream colors and a little scarf, and you got your coif perfectly coiffed? Look who's talking there. Or are you dressing like a fucking man, wearing darks, wearing colors that make you look like a man, growing out your beard a little bit, building muscle, dialing in your diet, having discipline, focusing on your higher motive, not your lesser motive? All right, boys, we're getting long in this podcast, so I'm going to wrap it up. My final two: be disagreeable. If you don't agree with somebody, tell them. If somebody asks you for something and you don't want to do it, say the simple word no. Not with emotion, not with anger, not with fear, just no. Let it be a non-reactive no, a high quality no, a no that comes from that masculinity within yourself that knows your worth. And if you don't want to do something, don't do it. If a girl brings up some shit that you don't like, tell her, disagree with her. Be unapologetically disagreeable. If she's using you or flaking on you or anything, tell her about it. I want you to be openly disagreeable, especially some of you guys. Man, you are way too nice. And what is being a nice, agreeable, don't want to rock the boat dude? That's meaning you're stepping too into your feminine energy. I'm talking 40 white stones to your 60 black stones. We need to up that masculinity. Tell people no. Show people you are not to be fucked with. And respect yourself, because you too are a soul that needs to be respected. And my last one, brothers, is set goals. You need to have goals. You need to have waypoints in this life. You need to be climbing mountains consistently. And it's been shown time and time again that when men don't have a purpose, they start to lose their health. They start to lose their happiness. You need to have that mountain to climb. You need to have those goals that you're going after. You need to step into that pain every single day. And I know, man, it sucks. Sometimes I even think to myself, I'm like, dude, all the time I'm stepping into pain. But if you're not growing, you're dying. There is no in between. There is no maintenance mode. It's either you're growing or you're dying. You're flourishing or you're disintegrating. Those are your two options, man. And the way to continue flourishing is you have to set goals. And when you achieve that goal, celebrate, party it up with your boys, and then set the next biggest goal. Brother, I want you to kill 3 goals so fast, the last goal is dead before the first 2 goals hit the ground. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. Let's go over everything we discussed today. Embrace your aggression. Compete with other men. Be part of a tribe of men. Move into your fears. Embrace the warrior within yourself. Dress masculine, be disagreeable, set goals, and embrace your masculinity. Respect it, cherish it, love it, because it's how you were born, it's how you're calibrated, and the more you embrace it, the more you step into it, and the less you apologize for it, the more it's going to work for you. And also, brother, the more girls you're going to get. Do all the things I just talked about, you're going to be getting more ass than a toilet seat. That's your Uncle Mark Sing's guarantee. Gentlemen, I do appreciate you. I hope this episode pumped you up as much as it did me. Listen to my playlist on Spotify. It's called Mark's Lift Heavy Ass Weights. I have other playlists on there as well that I'd be down for you guys to check out. Any of you champions who like hardcore music, check out what is, in my opinion, the best hardcore band that ever existed. It takes a certain taste and a certain sophistication to be able to appreciate these guys. But check out my playlist, Unbroken. It's a band from the 90s. I just love the guitars on there. It gets me so fucking fired up. By far my favorite hardcore band. But at the very least, gentlemen, check out that playlist. Mark's Lift Heavy Ass Weights. Get in the gym, jack some fucking weights, embrace the warrior within yourself. Have that same heart beating in your chest that those guys in the UDT had in World War II. And then the Navy SEALs have going into Vietnam and getting through fucking Hell Week. What is it, 6 months to go through BUDS training? 90% attrition rate or something like that? That gets my respect. Be a fucking man without making any apologies for it. That's what the hell I'm talking about, gentlemen. I drop podcasts on Mondays and Thursdays. I do appreciate you listening, and I will see you in the next episode.